I don't know if you've been following this. Maybe not. I just realized how white this room is. I mean, it's pop culture. You probably heard about it. I mean, I don't know if you've been watching this whole Drake and Kendrick. My. What a time to be alive. All right, so Drake and Kendrick, they are rappers, sir. They're rappers. Okay, I want to make sure everybody, and I'm not acting like I know. You might bump Kendrick all the time. You might be a big Pimp a Butterfly fan. You know, I'm just checking. So, Drake and Kendrick's relationship actually goes back way further than people realize, because Drake brought Kendrick with him on tour when Kendrick was like just starting to pop, but Drake was already a big deal, right? And it seemed like they were cool. You see these old interviews, they're in pictures together, they have such nice things to say about each other. And then along the line, something changed. Something happened. And we don't know what that thing is really, but they both started to kind of like go at each other in small ways. And some people take it all the way back to the Control verse. Kendrick did a verse in a song on, it was actually a Big Sean song. Big Sean is a rapper, sir. All of these are just names, and I want to make sure that we're all up to speed. So he did a verse on a Big Sean song called Control, but it blew up so much it became Kendrick's verse. It became the Control verse, which is crazy. And in that verse, he went at everybody. He called people out by name, you know? And he said, I got love for you all, but I'm trying to murder you. I'm trying to make sure that your fans don't even love you anymore. They love me so much. I'm coming for the crown. I'm coming for everything, right? And just about everybody thought that it was actually pretty dope. It was actually like, okay, hip hop as a sport, like hip hop as, you know, a fun thing, a contest to see who's actually the best, because everybody calls themselves the best on every song. Eventually, someone has to be the best. You know, every rapper believes that they're the best, and they say so in their music. A lot like how one city will have several First Baptist churches. When you look around, you're like, one of y'all has to actually be first, right? How can y'all even all claim to be first? This is confusing. You know? And so he releases the Control verse. Now, this is something, maybe this is where it started. It's where a lot of people say it started, but maybe it was something else. But Drake seemed to take some sort of issue with the love that Kendrick was getting for that verse, with him being called out, even though he's someone that helped, you know, Kendrick out in the beginning. But even in interviews, Kendrick explained himself. He said, like, this is a contest to see who's the best. It's all love, right? But Drake has, I'm trying to be fair. Drake has a lot of feelings, and you can tell because he has a lot of albums. And there are feelings on every one of those albums. And some people don't have several albums worth of feelings. Some people only have 4 or 5 albums worth of feelings, you know? And some people decide when to let it out, and he just lets it out on a pretty tight schedule, a pretty regimented schedule of release to let out all of his feelings, you know? And he said, he's like, I just didn't like it. It didn't feel sincere. I just didn't vibe with the whole thing. Because then I saw him later and he was all nice to me. Yeah. He said in his interview, it was all love. It's just a contest. And then from there, they had like a weirdness. And then there's like little things. You can listen to certain songs where Drake seems to be like digging right at Kendrick, but in a way where you have to really look at it and wonder, right? Not saying his name. And then Kendrick, even does a little bit of the same. But even after a little bit of this had kicked off, they still worked together one or two more times, right? Because Drake was on Good Kid, Mad City, Kendrick's album, and Kendrick was on Take Care. So there's still at least a professional relationship there to some degree, right? Fast forward a few years and Drake's really big. And when I say really big, he's like what Bad Bunny is now, he was back then, like top in the world, right? Everybody wanted to be Drake. Everybody wanted to sing a little bit of Drake. He was #1 on Spotify. Every time he released, it was a big deal. And so some people, admittedly, were very jealous of Drake. You know, there were people who started to go at Drake a little bit. And Drake is a good writer. He may have writers that he works with. He may have... But he's also good. It's like when he's making music, everyone in the room is good. I'm trying to give him his I'm trying to be objective, and y'all are trying to lean me into a way that's... But he's good, and so, you know, Meek Mill is a rapper. Sorry, Meek Mill. Because that one wasn't a name. I just want to make sure that at no point you don't think that this is like punctuation or anything. Because the names are going to get weirder as I go, right? Okay. Meek Mill came at Drake, and Drake really, truly, even if you hate Drake, Drake destroyed Meek Mill. He destroyed Meek Mill so bad that Meek Mill had to go back to jail just to level out some of that street cred. Because if you remember, Meek Mill went back to jail for a while on like this weird aspect of probation that they even tried to get changed as a law. So then Meek Mill became this like face of changing incarceration and changing the criminal justice system, everything, because he had to do something else for a little while because Drake really ate him up. All right. And so more time passes, and there's still not much between Kendrick and Drake in this moment, right? And then Drake gets into it. And I want to be clear because a lot of people sometimes feel bad for Drake in a way that I want to be clear. He does start a lot of this stuff. He does like have a little thing in a song that implies that your wife is unfaithful. And then when you come at him directly, he's like, what's with all the hate? I'm all love. It's like, no. The best way I can describe it is that Drake kind of fights like a cat. And some rappers fight like dogs. And so, you know, he'll do a little paw and he'll be like, what's the issue? And so Drake went at Pusha T, which was a true mistake. This is the thing about people like Pusha T, right? You don't want to mess with anyone who's actually had a hard life. You know, like, you know, Drake grew up in Canada, grew up with, like, it's just, this is my thing. A lot of people come at Drake for, you know, they come in at a way I don't like. They come at him in this, like, colorism way where he's like, you're not really black because you're half white. I don't roll with any of that. I just truly think, but you see what I'm talking about. I'm not. Y'all are trying to get me to do something I'm not doing. I'm just saying it's very hard for a rapper to seem hard, right? When they have not been through what other rappers have been through. Like, it's hard to go hard when everybody knows you had health care. Because I'm not saying there aren't hardened criminals in Canada. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying that if somebody knows that anytime you were sick, you could call a doctor. It just takes a little bit of the wind out of the sails of like, I'll kill you. It's like, yeah, but if I hurt you, you go to a doctor immediately. Like, so anyway, Kendrick is still off doing his thing, releasing amazing music, but Drake gets into it with Pusha T, which was a mistake because he told Pusha T, he's like, I got more money than you. I got more women than you. I'm more famous than you'll ever be. And then Pusha T said, you have a son. He released the fact that Drake had a son, which people didn't know, on a track that's cover was Drake in blackface. Everything about what Pusha T did to Drake is why you don't get involved with people like Pusha T. You're like, you know, a part of me felt bad for Drake. Drake was probably like John at the mouth and everything and didn't know he'd do research. It's like, you know, Drake is sitting there like, guys, I thought we were rhyming. I thought we were making music. What is this? So anyway, now Drake perceivably takes care of his son. And, you know, whatever. And so fast forward some more, and you would think that Drake could sort of learn his lesson of like, man, I shouldn't throw stones when I might have a lot of kids. And for his part, I will say this, for his part, every time somebody comes at Drake, he does come at them pretty hard, pretty heavy. And he does release music that his fans love. And there are a lot of his fans. I'm saying that's something that I thought about going into this thing where I was like, he always does really try to like give you something, but what he gives is twofold. What Drake is usually trying to give you that sort of earworm, trying to give you that thing that takes you to a place beyond the beef. So now people will still play back to back and songs that were responses to beefs he's had in the past, just as songs to enjoy, you know? And so this year, Drake and J. Cole started, you know, they started doing appearances together. Like J. Cole would pop up at Drake's concert. And J. Cole is also someone who I genuinely believe is one of the most talented, phenomenal, musically inclined artists that I've encountered. I really enjoy his music. I don't know him as a person, and I think he's amazing, right? So he is on a couple of Drake songs after they appeared together last year, and it made me listen to those songs. I was like, oh, J. Cole, okay, you know, because I admittedly I hadn't listened to Drake in a long time because I only have a certain amount of feelings. I feel like I got pretty far. I feel like I listened to several albums, and then at a certain point, I was like, I feel grown. Like, you know? And anyway, they do a song together, and then they do a song called First Person Shooter. And in First Person Shooter, they're going back and forth about how great the era is and how great they are. And First Person Shooter is a fantastic song, right? And then J. Cole in the song says, you'll forgive me if I'm getting it wrong, but he says, maybe something like we're the top top two, three, okay. And then he was like, is it Kendrick, is it Aubrey or me? Because we're the big three, like we started the league, but right now I feel like Muhammad Ali, right? And I guess Kendrick heard that and took it as a personal affront. I wouldn't have felt that like if two people were like, man, we're the best ever, and Josh is great too, and I wasn't even there, I would be like, oh, thanks. But I'm not built like Kendrick. You know? And so then later we would also find out that apparently Drake tried to get Kendrick on that track. So he knew it was coming up and he didn't want any part of it. And then I guess he hated that he was mentioned. So then Metro Boomin and Future are rappers that, because that could have been a label name. I'm not making fun of you at all. I'm just making sure everybody is up to speed and you're right in front of me. That's all that's happening, right? So Metro Boomin and Future, they release an album called We Don't Trust You, and on it is a track called Like That. Now, Like That is where Kendrick does essentially the control effect on this song. He does a verse that really made me forget it was a song. I don't know what anyone else said on the song, right? And on the song, he says, "Fuck the big three, it's just big me," right? Which is also, hey, I've always said I want to be the best. I've said it from day one. As soon as people started interviewing me, I said I want to be the best. As soon as people started listening to my music, I said I wanted to be the best. This is not out of character for me. This is the same thing I did 10 years ago, right? So just for me, if it were me, if I was one of them, if I was Drake and I heard "Fuck the big three, it's just big me," I also wouldn't take it as a personal affront. Because there were other things in the song where he came at Drake specifically. He didn't really have much for J. Cole. And yeah, it just sat for a while. It sat and everybody was like, ooh, what are Drake and Cole gonna do? And then Cole was actually, I think, the first one to release. He released this song that he's since taken down called 7 Minute Drill, and he went at Kendrick in the song. And then he took it down, and a lot of people clowned him for it, but it's something that even, I'm not being a revisionist here. I said this when it happened. I was like, I respect the fact that he took it down, because it's not something he really wanted to do. And the internet is all gas, no brakes. The internet will get you to mess up your life. Do you know what I mean? People you don't know are like, I wouldn't take that if I was you. What you gonna do? Huh? Do something, huh? Huh? People who are very safe at home, I wouldn't, if I was you, ooh, I'd go at his neck. I'd eat him alive if I was you. Do something, Jermaine, do it. Do it. And so he took it down, and he even said, he's like, I didn't feel like doing it, so it's not even good. I kind of just went at him a little bit, and it's true. In the song, he doesn't even say anything that bad. He's just like, one of your albums was boring. I won't even say which one. And then he took it down because he said, I don't know, this felt corny. And I respected the hell out of that. Very few men, grown men, famous men, powerful men, very few ever apologize. Very few ever apologize without being made to, with the threat of losing their money, losing their fame, losing something. Very few men. So I respect that, and people clowned him to no end. But then the actual beef between Drake and Kendrick started, and that was a lot. Because Drake released a song called Push Ups, and he didn't just go at Kendrick, he went at a bunch of people and, implied that Kendrick's wife was unfaithful, that his son might not be his and everything. And people are like, ooh, what's Kendrick gonna do? What's gonna happen, right? And then, he releases another song, and this song is AI. This song is Drake with the late Tupac and Snoop Dogg, and it's going at Kendrick. And some people had their feelings about that. But then, oof. On a random morning, I was, it was right about the time I was supposed to say my prayers anyway. Your morning prayers? Your thank your God for waking me up this morning, right? And Kendrick dropped a song called Euphoria. And I think when it happened, a lot of people, including me, was like, oh, this is an actual rap beef now in the way that we had in the 90s. These dudes do not like each other. And Kendrick says he hates them in the song. He says, I hate you. He said it a lot. He said, I hate you a lot. He did artistically, but he was like, ooh, I hate you. Ooh, I hate you. Ooh, right? And, woof. It was a lot, right? And then And then, Drake released. Actually, no, Kendrick released one. He released so many, I actually lost count. So then he released a song that I didn't even get to fully digest because he released, and then Drake released his response. And this was like what Drake had been waiting for. This was like all these, in my opinion, all these years of like, I was nice to you, and then you came at everybody, including me, and all I'm doing is writing my feelings down in albums and making money. And I just want to be number one. I just want to be the best with feelings. I want to be the best. And so he just took everything that he had, and he put it in a song called Family Matters, right? And 20 minutes later, Kendrick released a song called Meet the Grams, which was a real play off Family Matters. And he had said in 616 before, he was like, have you ever thought about the fact that like people in your camp are working for me, that everyone hates you so much they feed me information about you, and that there's no way that you're going to win this because I write so many songs, because all I do is hang out with my wife and my kids and I write, right? This is all that I do. I enjoy this. This is my favorite thing to do, is just sit at home and hate you and write songs about you and how much I hate you, so I can go forever. This will never be over. We can chill. We can just go back and forth, and I'll release 20 for every one that you release. You keep saying that it's a 1v20, and it is. It's one of you, and it's 20 songs of me every single day until the both of us die. This is old black man hate. You got to understand, this doesn't happen. This doesn't happen with people under 60 almost ever. This is old. We knew each other during the civil rights movement hate that he brought to this battle. And Drake was like, guys, I thought we were rhyming. And in Meet the Grams, he laid it down. He started the song by talking to Drake's son. Being like, I'm sorry that's your father. Genuinely, I'm sorry that's your father, because I can tell he's not raising you well, because I can tell he's not living a good life and he's not a decent man, okay? And so if you don't understand this right now because you're 6, play it back when you're 18, okay? He said lots of things. He said things that are illegal. He said Drake was doing things that, you can listen to it. Woof. He even had this effect in the song. At the end of the song, when he's like, you lied, he called him a liar several times, and he's like, you lied. I was like, oh, that's too much. And he tells him about himself. He talks to his son, he talks to his dad, he talks to his mom, and then he talks to him directly, right? He also talks to, potentially, a daughter that Drake is not taking care of. Which I was listening to it, I was like, not again. I feel like once they find the first kid, you gotta just get all the kids. You gotta just have a whole Graham family, just so you know where everybody is. And people go back and forth. Does he have a daughter? Does he not have a daughter? Some people think they've even found the daughter, everything like that. And I don't know. It's really bad. It's so bad. And honestly, I never wanted it to get to a bad place. This is something, I'll talk about this more in the future and everything, but I have a deep love, but a strange relationship with hip hop, because if everything is in music, it's all good. It's when things leave music that things get bad, And so as much as I joke about Drake and I like Kendrick and I've liked some of Drake's songs, I don't actually want them to do anything to each other. You know what I mean? Now, if what Kendrick is saying about Drake is true, we should lock Drake up. We should lock Drake up. And if what Drake is saying about Kendrick is true, we should lock Kendrick up, all right? Because, it's a rap battle, two dudes that hate each other. Maybe they're lying. Who knows? But I'm just saying, this thing, I didn't want to see anything bad happen to either one of them. But when Meet the Grams got released, I don't know what Drake thinks, and I don't know what his life is like, especially right now. But I think back to those battles and those beefs in the 90s, and I wonder if Drake wasn't like, I'd like to be shot, please. Like if you could just plug me one time and then we can smooth the thing over. Because then, as if Meet the Grams wasn't enough, Kendrick released a song called Not Like Us, which is the catchiest way to call somebody a I've ever heard in my life. You'd be dancing to it forgetting what the song is about. Like, you know. And then Drake released The Heart Part 6. And I think that's when he lost. I think, because in The Heart Part 6, he's like, this was all part of my plan. We fed you information about me for you to say, so everything that you said is wrong. And don't you feel dumb now that I tricked you? And it just kind of felt like, like what a kid, okay, like when you play rock, paper, scissors, and you do rock. And the other kid does scissors, and they're like, no, actually, these are lasers. Ba-pow, 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 ba-pow. Because I was like, Drake, if it was part of your plan to feed Kendrick information about you for him to rap about very well, by the way, like even if those are lies, they do sound good and they sound very true. Even if you fed him all this information about you to rap about to then look dumb when it was wrong, why'd you send him that stuff? That's the worst stuff you could send somebody. Hey, tell him this thing about me that's not true but was true once, and tell him I'm a thing that no one wants to be. So now that it's over, because I do hope it's over, I feel like Drake should just release some songs about some feelings. I don't know if y'all saw my man who zoomed into court. All right, in case you didn't see it, basically, because of the pandemic, ever since the pandemic, court, like as in the American justice system, has started to let people zoom into some of their cases depending on what it is, which is very progressive. That's wild to let somebody zoom into court and go ahead and give me a head start if I'm found guilty. That's what it is to me. Like, imagine if I had court and they were like, you can zoom in from home. I'm like, all right. A couple days later, they're like, Mr. Johnson, we find you guilty. Please report to. I'd be like, oh, yeah, I'll be right there. No, but basically, there's a court case where this judge and the lawyers are all in the courtroom, and they let the person that is accused of having a suspended license, they let him zoom into court. And so everybody's there except for him, right? And then he turns his mic and his camera on, and he is driving, all right? It's a suspended license case, but he driving. Suspended license, but he's and not only is he driving, by the way, he really cutting the wheel when he turns. And so he turns his mic and his camera on, and you can see the judge. Judge is like, And even the judge is like, it's a suspended license case, right? And look, I don't know. I, thank goodness, have never had to go to court or Zoom court, all right? So I don't know what they have to do or what they don't have to do, but in my mind, like, why turn the why turn the camera on? Just turn the mic on. But maybe a condition of Zoom court is that you have to turn the camera on too. Make sure you pay attention and everything. Maybe, I don't know. But he turns his camera on, and the judge's like, "Sir, are you driving? Are you driving right now?" And he couldn't sound happier. My man is like, "Yes, Your Honor, I'm pulling up right now." Right? And I want to be clear, he's not pulling up to court. He's pulling up to the doctor's office, right? Because, you know, you can sometimes run some errands while you're doing Zoom court, you know, because you don't have to be there. Once again, this is very progressive. This is like real step forward. This is mind blowing. I wonder who else they let Zoom into court. Like, that'd be funny if they let the bailiff Zoom in too. Like, the bailiff at home, but he like, "Stop it." Y'all, cut it out. Cut it out. Don't make me. I will mute everybody in here. I don't care. I'll shut it down. And so the judge is like, "Are you driving right now?" He's like, "Yes, but I'm pulling up. You know, I'm about to park right now." And then the judge looks at everybody and goes like, it's hard to make a judge say "wow." I've never tried it, but I've watched a lot of court on TV, and I can imagine "wow" isn't said often. You know, I'm sure even the stenographer was sitting there like, and so then he pulls up, and the judge is like, "It's a suspended license case, right?" And then his lawyer is like, "Yes, Your Honor." And he's like, "But he's driving right now. Like, he in the car, like we can see him. I saw movement behind him, which means the car was in motion. He wasn't just sitting in a car, which would still not be advisable to your suspended license case. But like, he wasn't sitting in a car, just movement." They were like, "Yes, Your Honor." And then he was like, "Oh, okay." And the judge's name in this case is Cedric Simpson, right? So the guy driving is black, the judge is black. This man is black. He had a black judge, and he had a black judge named Cedric Simpson. He had the blackest judge possible. You had the blackest judge in America as a black man, and you are wasting all of it right now. This is Cedric Simpson. And the way my man was staring at the camera, and then he said, "Judge says, am I missing something here? Because I know the law. I know so much law, I'm a judge. And I don't know what's going on right now." And so then they were like, "No, Your Honor, you're correct. You know, he's driving right now." And his lawyer just over here like, I've watched a lot of judging. I've watched Judge Judy. I've watched Judge Joe Brown, Judge Mathis, and never in the history of judging have I seen a black defendant with a black judge that just was looking at him. And you could tell that Cedric just wanted to be like, "Nigga." Like, what are you doing? And so he's like, so he has a suspended license case, but he's driving right now. He's driving in front of us. It's on the record that he's driving. So, and then in this moment, you can see Corey is the guy that was driving, right? You could see him realize what's happening on camera. So now he's making the face that the judge made, right? Like now he's like, and at one point, because you know how Zoom does, so anyone making noise, it highlights them for a second, right? And so the judge asked a question like, "Is a suspended license case?" And he was just driving right now in front of us. And you hear Corey go, And then basically, the Honorable Cedric Simpson was like, I'm gonna need you to drive to jail. All right. But look, there's more to the case. There's actually an incredible amount more to the case, a disappointing amount more to the case, because basically this dude spends 2 days in jail, but then it comes to light. I don't know how, probably because of the virality of the clip, that there was actually some form of clerical error way back 2 years ago, so that his license should have never been suspended in the first place. So then he thought he was allowed to drive, right? And so then people come out of the woodwork apologizing, being like, that's so unfair. And then also it was a highlight of local government and how sometimes the government can get things wrong. There's too many people talking to each other. There's too much involved. There's too much paperwork. There's too many wires that can get crossed and everything, because they were like, oh, all you had to do was get this office to speak to this office to reinstate his license. But apparently they never did that, right? So now there was almost like a backlash to the backlash, where people were like, we messed up, we were all laughing at this guy like, what an idiot. Turns out he thought he could drive and everything. So the internet did something it very rarely ever does, ever, for anyone, for any reason. And the internet almost collectively apologized to Corey, right? And it wasn't, obviously to the amount that everyone shared the clip and everyone laughed, but everyone had something to say. Everyone was like, this guy got done dirty and we didn't know enough information. And there was someone else who didn't know enough information, the Honorable Cedric Simpson. There was something about this whole thing that was not sitting right with him, right? And so when Corey showed up for court, for this case, he tells Corey, he's like, I did some digging. I looked at the friend of the court office. I looked at, basically their DMV, looked at municipal offices, took it as far as he could take it, following a paperwork trail, right? As much as possible. And he said, Mr. Harris, who's Corey, you've actually never had a license. Like you never had I don't know how we got here. You've never had a license. And then Judge Simpson asked him, he's like, where were you? And I can't remember if he said 2022 or 2023, but he was like, where were you December of 2020, whatever? And he was like, oh, I think I was, still laid up from my accident and everything. He's like, actually, no, you were at the offices getting your state ID renewed, okay? Because you keep getting state IDs and you've never had a license. What are you doing, buddy? You clearly know how to drive. You should just take the test. And then it turns out, from digging deeper into Corey and into his cases and into his problems with traffic stops and everything like that, they found where he had actually admitted, apparently on body cam, to police that pulled him over, that he didn't have a license on a totally different time, right? So then he had to report back to jail, even though he was out on bond, because they found a bench warrant for his arrest from another time he was driving without a license. Corey loved driving without a license. Driving without a license is Corey's bread and butter. He loves, there's just something about driving without a license, there's just, it's scrumptious. And I'm not gonna judge, because I've been there before in some way. Sometimes I do stuff I know I shouldn't do because it's a little bit more fun. Sometimes I'll go to a restaurant and I'll ask for a cup of water, and I get up to the machine and I hit that lemonade. You know what I mean? The sips just taste better when you're not supposed to have them. You know what I mean? Walking up to the foul machine like, this one's on a Wendy's. I a newfound appreciation for moms this past week. I love my mom. I've always appreciated my mom, but I mean moms as a whole. You know what I mean? Because like the thing is, I was just at like an outing, and my friend who's a new mom, she had to run and do something, and so she asked me to hold her baby. When I tell you this was the heaviest baby I've ever... The baby didn't look heavy because it's little. So you think little means little weight. And the weight, she handed me the baby, and the baby is not helping me at all. Like the baby doesn't even wrap his little arm around my neck or anything. Just like the baby trying to be heavy, just doing this. In my arms, I'm like, and I'm fighting to hold this, but I've got him under the armpits, like fighting to hold him up, and I'm trying to do that thing because moms are really good at doing it. You that little hike y'all do, you know what I'm talking about? Like the baby slipping a little, and you're talking to somebody, but the baby's on your hip, so you do a little hip hip hip, and then you catch. I'm trying to do one of those, but I don't know how to do it. And my whole focus the entire time is do not drop this baby. Do not drop this baby. Your life will be over. The baby's life will be... Just do not drop this baby. And so I've got it like this, and I'm just holding it out, but it's slipping because it's trying to slip. It's just like... Just... And it's not wiggling, but it's just like it wants to be free so bad. And so I'm trying to hike it up real quick. And so I go for like a quick hike up where I was like, I don't want to shake them, but I want to, just pop them up real quick so I can readjust my grip, right? And I also don't want to throw it. Like I'm not trying to put him up in the air. I'm just trying to get a little bit of distance between him and my hands so I can reposition my hands, right? And so then I try to hike him up, and right at the hike, the baby kicks me. So now he's out. He's not fully out of my hands, but he's at the tips of my fingers. And so I'm like, And now I'm holding him worse. Like now, like he's not upside down, but he's definitely not right side up. Like he's kind of sideways. And this baby is so heavy that my fingers are screaming. Like, I honestly, this is so embarrassing. I'm glad nobody was looking because I was so scared I was gonna drop this baby that I was like, let me just, and so I went ahead and just slowly. Because if I drop the baby slow, it's not dropping the baby. I mean, so I was like, let me get him as close to the ground as I can while I got a grip on him, and then I can readjust from the ground. And honestly, so I put him on the ground, and then I go to pick him up, because in my head, I'm like, now I can really cradle him. Now I can scoop the legs and scoop the back and cradle the head and stuff like that. Now I can really stand up with him and hold him like a baby, right? But if I thought the baby was heavy when he was handed, trying to pick this baby up from the ground was like Thor's hammer. I don't know what. It's like the baby ate in between me holding him here and putting him down. Because trying to pick this baby up from the ground, I honestly, I had to use my legs. Like I really had to get in squat position. I finally picked this baby up, and I'm holding him like cradled, right? But now he over here trying to slip out of the edge and be upside down. And then just then his mom walks back over, and he's upside down now. I'm holding his shoulder, and his foot is kicking my chin. And I'm holding his stomach around. And she's like, thank you so much. It's like she didn't even know. She's like, thank you so much. She just writes him up. Walks off, and I was like, what is she made of? That's a 600-pound baby. I have been absolutely obsessed. I don't know if you've heard, but there's been a viral Chase money glitch. Okay, if you haven't seen it, basically someone on TikTok said that there was a money glitch at Chase where if you deposit a check for a large amount, an amount you don't have, it will let you withdraw the full amount that you just made up, right? And that is just check fraud. That's actually the plainest fraud you can do. To walk up to an ATM and be like, I'd like to lie, please. That's not legal at all. And so I saw the TikTok and I was like, uh-oh, I hope nobody does this. I hope not a single person does this. I hope no one does it because it's the worst type of fraud you can do. I hope nobody does this at all. And then I went to Twitter and 6,000 people had done it. Like, in the time that I saw it, there were already people who were like, yo, we out here living. And watching people you don't know commit fraud is like watching your uncle wear a suit he thinks he can pull off. You know what I mean? Like, you're just like, no, not in front of everyone, not in front of everyone. Because that's what it was. It was in front of everyone. They not only did the check fraud, but they all made videos, which is how I was watching. This wasn't a rumor. I was like, that's a high definition camera that you are committing crimes in right now. I am so, man, the jails will be full. That's a lot. Because, they were playing with money that they didn't really have, and they were spending it on things they shouldn't have been spending it on. And so, I know I'm not the first person to say this. I'm late when it comes to saying this, but I need to say it just to reiterate one more time in case anybody doesn't understand why check fraud is a very, very bad idea. They went to Chase Bank, right? And then they wrote their name all over a check. And then they went to their bank, which was Chase Bank, with their name on that check, and then put that fake money into their accounts, which your bank account has every number that makes you identifiable. Like, your bank has your address. It has your social security number. It has the numbers of places you used to live. Like, they have so much information about you. Chase might as well just go to the police station and be like, we need to make a few printouts. And so people were doing the check fraud, but then this is the other thing. This is what happened. This is why people started doing it, right? Basically, the glitch, as people were calling it, some of it was just straight up check fraud because they will give you a portion of the check because they haven't verified the check yet, but it's law that they have to make a portion available immediately, right? And so there was a mistake for maybe, who knows, 10 minutes, an hour, where someone put in a check and it gave them the full amount immediately. It did not do that for most people. Most people got a portion. So when you see them throwing money, they definitely had to pick it up right after. Like, it's like... Don't let the internet lie to you. Like, they threw that money for the video and then they were like, oh God, whenever I see stuff like that, I always think to myself, like, y'all didn't factor in the wind at all. Like, you balling for these next 3 seconds, but as soon as there's a gust, you're gonna be running into traffic, screaming, no! And so basically, there was that side of the glitch. Another side of the glitch was that there were people who were also requesting loans, like pretty high loans. And the loans were also appearing, for some reason, appearing in their bank account in full, even though all the money wasn't available. right? So that part is a mistake on Chase's part on the website. But what's actually happening when they were withdrawing the money was just a little bit was coming out. That little bit was just a portion of a bigger amount, right? But then Chase caught on pretty quick because they posted it to the internet, right? Which is where Chase also is. If Chase was one of these mom and pop banks where mom worked the teller and dad was the personal banker, maybe they would have gotten away with it for quite a while. But because Chase is also on the internet, Chase saw the mistake they were supposedly making. They corrected it immediately. They put a 7-day hold on people's accounts that were affected by this activity, right? But then, because they never had the money and because they already withdrew some of the money, they were getting negative balances as high as $72,000, right? Which red $72,000, I think I'm just gonna change my name. That's when you open your bank account and you go, whose bank account is this? I don't know him at all. I am moving. But this is why you shouldn't let the internet lie to you, not just because they give bad advice with no repercussions, but also because there were people that were faking it. There are people that were faking the glitch, literally just to go viral. There were people who were going to the ATM, withdrawing their real money, not doing the scam, then throwing the money in the air for the video, and then immediately being like, y'all, help me. There were even people who were pretending, using other people's screenshots, pretending that they also had a negative $48,000 balance. And it was all just for attention. And it's so important to remember that. It's important to remember that half of the internet is for attention. Almost none of this is real. I could be AI. None of this is real. And so when you take things that are fun on the internet and you bring them into the real world, you could screw up your entire life because check fraud is so much a felony. Check fraud is one of those felonies that someone does that's not even a dangerous person. It's just you'll be like, man, where is Cousin Willie? I have not seen him at the last 3 Thanksgivings. And then your grandma go, okay, so Willie, he got into a little bit of trouble at Bank of America. It was a misunderstanding with the... Because grandmas always try to make you seem less of a criminal. Grandma, you commit a crime and grandma be like, he had an accident. It was an accident. He is a sweet child. It was an accident because basically he got a little argument with one of his friends and then he fell, because they were pushing each other. Then he fell on his friend, but he had just been holding a knife at the time. That's why we praying for him to get out, because I know his spirit. I know my baby, and my baby would never stab someone to death. My baby, how the police know he wasn't trying to get the knife out? You know what I mean? That's why it went in so many times, because it kept slipping in, and he kept pulling it out. Why didn't they ask why that man's body was magnetic? Why didn't they do that? My baby ain't no murderer. You do check fraud. Your grandma's like, that's not even his handwriting. But grandma, is his name at his bank put into his account? And they just came and got him. Yeah, but I don't know. That when a grandma really has nothing for you, when you did it so hard, when you did it in front of her, that's when she's like, I don't know. Because at the end of the day, the one thing a grandma is not is a snitch. Grandmas. Okay. All right. So back in the day, so I grew up in Louisiana, right? And back in the day, we weren't friends, but I knew this kid, and he was like, this kid in my neighborhood was getting arrested, and it was a whole big scene because, like, basically, I don't know what he was getting arrested for, but the police thought that they needed 18 of them. Like, it was, I don't know what he did, but everybody showed up, if nothing else, just to watch. Like, that's... And that dude's grandma came outside screaming, like, he didn't do it. Typical grandma. He didn't do it. He didn't do it. And then she tried to fake a heart attack. I was like, damn, grandma a G right here. That's probably what G stands for if you go back all the way. She was like, don't take my baby, don't take, oh no, my heart. And you could tell she was faking it too because she like really planned the fall. Like the fall, because she knew she couldn't just fall however she wanted to fall. She may never get up again. So she was in her little nightgown and everything, looking for a soft spot on the ground. Oh no, not my baby, my heart. I just can't stress it enough. Please do not do wire or check fraud. It's like, it's so easy to not do. We're all not doing it right now. And I don't want to, look, I'm not coming from some holier than thou place either. I understand crime. I understand why people do crime. Like if you've ever been broke, you get crime. Crime makes so much sense if you're broke. I don't understand when rich people do crime because they already have things. Do you know what I mean? If you do crime as a rich person, you're really doing it for the love of the game. If you are a multimillionaire and you embezzle hundreds of thousands of dollars, you're doing it for chips. Like this isn't, you just felt like being bad or something, trying to spice up your life. A poor person doing a crime makes so much sense. I don't have anything. I don't have anything. That's a thing. I'd like to have it. Simple math, you know? I've been hungry. You hungry? Man, I wish I had something to eat. But on this planet, in this country, we trade money for things to eat. And I don't have any of that, so I guess I just won't eat. And then you don't eat for long enough that you're like, damn, the food is right there. You know what? Today's the day. I'm gonna do a crime. And then you grab an apple or something, and then, you know, grocer sees you, and you try to run, but you can't because you don't have any energy. So you get caught, and it's all very sad because you get charged with theft, but you took it because you were hungry. Like, crime, when you're broke, makes sense, you know? We don't like it, but it's true. It just does. And it's weird because it's like, Chase isn't... Chase. This is what bothers me about the whole thing. It was dumb of these people to do it, but to do it to Chase is like weirdly full circle. Chase got bailed out in 2008 for about $12 billion. And they needed those $12 billion because they were playing with money that wasn't theirs. And they made the video, it just didn't go viral. You know what I mean? So it just, I don't know. There's a deep irony in that like, you know, one of the major powerhouses, probably the biggest bank in the country that contributed to near financial collapse, is going to go ahead and get theirs back from some of the people that they made poor. It's pretty harrowing, you know? But every single one, I don't care if you were a kid, if you were grown, there was a line, by the way. There was a line at the Chase ATM, so a lot of people were doing this at once. There was such a long line. Okay, I didn't know about the scam until late. I am late when it comes to everybody doing this. It's already over and Chase has like settled it and they're probably gonna go get their money back. But I was in line one of the days and I don't look like I wouldn't do it. I'm standing in line like, come on now. This line's never been this long before. That guy's throwing money. That's irresponsible. No. It's just, you know, you should know. I don't care your age. I don't care if it was on the internet or if it was a rumor you heard in real life. You should know that you cannot just take money that's not yours as a poor person. If you want to steal millions of dollars, you need to already have millions of dollars. There is a Chase money glitch. It just only benefits Chase. You know, the only people who can just print money with absolutely no consequence are the Federal Reserve. Everyone else has to deal with it. Oh, that's a tough one. It really is. Because I think about how some people are like actually in real like felony trouble. I don't know what I would do if I committed a felony, but I was just joking. It's a terrible predicament to be in. Some of these people are like 20, you know? They're like, guys, I don't know, I just wrote too many zeros, my bad. The only one of these scams that I really thought was like funny and was really rooting for the people on was that DoorDash one. I don't know if you saw this, but basically there was this DoorDash scam that was essentially the same thing. It was kind of tied to a Cash App scam. There are a lot of scams if you pay attention. It is crazy how much we're doing them now, how much we're doing like wire and check fraud. Like we, as Americans, we have become the Nigerian princes of the world. Because I know Nigerians. I know Nigerians from Nigeria. And they are like, what is happening over there? Do you need us to send you something? Like, this is... Y'all are down bad as a people and as a country. This is hard to watch. But basically, there was like a DoorDash scam / Cash App scam where basically Cash App was letting you... It was basically letting you have a balance without pulling it from your bank. So then people were saying that they had enormous amounts of money, right? But then weren't able to pull it out. Like they weren't able to transfer this imaginary money to their bank. Thank God they weren't able to do wire fraud. But like they weren't able to send it. But what they could do is, as long as a full transaction was online and they linked it somewhere else, they could pay for things online with this fake money, right? And so what a lot of people would do was use their Cash App fake money to get stuff on DoorDash, which feels That feels like the most fulfilling of the scams because, like, you can make me pay back money, but you can't take the burritos out of me. You know what I mean? Like when the police come, I'm gonna be full, all right? And when they put me in the car, that car's suspension will be in trouble. I had the opportunity not too long ago to really be a hero. Like, you know, you don't know when your hero moments are gonna come. They just show up, and then you act like the person you are in that moment. And I had the opportunity to be a hero, and I didn't take it. I looked that moment in the face. I was like, you must be looking at somebody else, huh? I don't know what to tell you. This is bad. Basically, I was at a friend's house, and while I was there, some other people basically broke out into a fight, and like a real fight. We're not arguing. No one's talking anymore. Fists going and everything. And there was a moment where I could see a gap. I could see a pocket where I could have broke it up. And breaking up a fight is a very precarious position to put yourself in, because most fights that you want to break up, especially if it's two people, if it's three, it's gone too far. You know, you're not going to be able to double dutch that one. You know what I mean? But two, you wait for a moment where they're like both tired, or they're trying to wrestle, or, you know, they're backing up to like get started to fight. You know, that little back up hop step. This is usually, okay, when someone doesn't really know how to fight, they do too much prep for the fight. You know what I mean? Like okay, I know I'm digressing to digress, but basically one time in high school, there were these two kids that were about to fight, and I didn't even bother trying to break it up because one kid stretched. And I was like, nobody that's really about to beat you down goes, oh, okay, you about to get it. You just give me a second. I'll be over there in a minute. You just. And so said all that to say that, you know, there was this moment where they were backing up, and one of them, you could tell he couldn't really fight because his hop when he was backing up to prep looked weird, right? Because he didn't hop like, you know, like if somebody can really box, or if they've got like some movement, some footwork, they have the little hop. This dude went, okay, then here it is then. This man wanted to fight so bad, but just had to step on 1,000 roaches first. Like, in what world is this getting you ready? You look like you've already been hitting your cerebellum when you move like that. But anyway, they get to fighting, right? And I could have jumped in, but I was like, you know what? No. Because when you jump in to stop this fight, you need to be bigger than both people, right? The way you jump in and stop a fight, usually it's hand first, like you get the hand in there so that's the warning. Hey, stop swinging. Somebody else here. You might not hit him, you might hit me. Hey, right? And then you put your body in between the two of them. And the idea is that your body will be big enough that they're like, I want to punch, but there's too much to get around. And that isn't the case with me. You know what I mean? Like, I want to jump in and stop the fight, you know, like a principal, just like, hey now. Okay, so, all right. I I did see. Okay. So years ago, when I was in high school, I went with a friend to pick another friend up because all three of us went to different high schools, right? And so he could drive first, so he picked me up after school, and then we went to pick up our other friend. Now, our other friend was waiting outside of the school, but a fight had also, a few feet away, had also broken out at the school, and the principal did this exact thing, like, hey now, and you could tell he doesn't want to get in there because the hey nows were too frequent. Like this man, hey now. But he stopped the fight because he was just being too big for both those boys to get at each other, right? And I don't have that. Like if I jump in, I will catch a stray. Like I'm gonna walk right into a fence. Brothers, please. And so then the fight breaks out, and the guy that I thought couldn't fight, it turns out he can fight if he keeps the fight weird, right? Because in fighting, in hand-to-hand combat, in battle, right? You use what you have. You use your hands, fists, elbows, knees, shins, foot, everything that you can. If you wrestle them to the ground using your weight, using leverage, there's just lots of going on with your body when it comes to a fight. But what I've never seen, and I watch fighting, I watch combat sports, I like watching boxing, I like watching kickboxing. I've seen people who can kickbox in real life in like a street fight. I've seen people who can box in real life in a street fight. I've seen people use their knees, like Muay Thai moves, elbows, all that stuff. I've never seen somebody who just grabs. It is harrowing to watch. Because my man is over here trying to like fight, like he's fighting, right? And he's like punching and kneeing and kicking and everything like that. And the other dude, anytime he get close, he's just like, So now this dude punching while also being hella uncomfortable. Like you can see where he's like, hey, when does this cross over into a different type of assault? Do you know what I mean? Because like because at one point the dude was trying to dodge a punch and then like grab, and I think he thought he was doing kung fu. Because, you've seen the movies where they're like, ha, and then like just Black Panthering you up, you know what I mean? This dude at one point went to dodge a punch, but clearly, we could all see it, clearly grabbed the inner thigh of the dude he was fighting. And you see that dude miss with his punch, but also be like, and so they're fighting and they're fighting and they're fighting. And then there's one point where, the dude who really knows how to fight pushed the grabber away. Because I think he just needed a break. Imagine you beating somebody's ass and they're still like, it's devastating. And so then I realized that I made the right decision, not because I didn't want to be grabbed, but also I knew I made the right decision because when they re-engaged, the dude who knew how to fight, okay. I shouldn't laugh, but all right. I knew I made the right decision when the dude that knew how to fight threw a microwave, right? And I think, okay, this is what I think happened in my mind, right? No one even saw him with a microwave. We didn't know where the microwave came from. You know what I mean? And I think we were distracted because when he pushed the grabber off, the grabber was ready. He was still like had energy, even though he had lumps all over him and everything. And he was just standing like. And I'm not even kidding. At one point, I guess when he thought the fight was about to kick back off, we were all looking at his hand and he went, here. Like. And that must have been when old boy grabbed the microwave, because we were all like, it's weird. And there's a thing about when you're in hand-to-hand combat and you're losing, that's usually when someone reaches for a weapon, but the weapons normally make sense. I'm losing a fight. I'm in a home. I'm gonna grab something that's gonna give me a mechanical advantage, like a hammer or a knife. You know what I mean? Like, I love, one of my favorite things in the world, I've only seen it like twice ever, but one of my favorite things of all time is when somebody in a fight and they hit somebody with a book. Because it's literally poetic. When you hit someone with a book, it makes it feel like the book is in on the fight, right? Like if we're fighting and then I hit you with some James Baldwin, I'm giving you culture, right? I'm educating you. Somebody being dumb, you hit them with an encyclopedia. Read. You know? Somebody talking crazy, you hit them with a dictionary. You're literally giving them better words to use. But the thing about a microwave is that when it's coming at you in the air, it's all corners. When a microwave is hurtling towards your head, it's nothing but angles, all right? You would think it was a diamond, the way that it moves through the air. I guess I'd never seen one fly before, so I was like, wow, right? And so then, the best you can hope for, if you can't catch the microwave, if it's coming at you too fast and spinning too hard for you to dodge or stop it, is to just get hit with a flat surface, right? The best case scenario is that you get hit with a microwave that's coming at you door first, like a window. That feels like it has the most give to it. But that didn't happen at all. This dude threw the microwave at the grabber, and that dude got hit in the head with the popcorn button. And I've never seen a person shut off faster, right? Like, this dude caught a microwave in the head, and you just saw him go, like, I've never seen someone go limp that fast, right? We were all standing there like, I think he dead. Like, the only reason we knew he wasn't dead is that finally, after like 30 seconds, which 30 seconds when you think you're looking at a dead body is forever. That's... When you think that somehow you might go to jail too, you've been looking at that body all day. But he was clearly like down for 30 seconds, and then we just saw him be like, oh. He's fine. I don't know. Maybe y'all saw. Maybe you didn't see. People can only watch so much news, you know. But y'all saw the president at the UN. I didn't see everything as it was happening. I heard about some stuff later, right? So then I got a text message from my friend. They were like, "Oh, did you see what happened at UN?" I'm like, "No, I didn't see what happened at UN." And they explained to me that, he was getting on escalator and then the escalator stopped. Now, I thought at the time, I thought it was going very differently. I thought the escalator stopped on like a down escalator. That would have been a big deal. Imagine you on escalator, you have belief. You get on a down escalator, you're like, all right, it's gonna take me where I need to go. No need for a seatbelt. If that thing just stops, the momentum, whoa! Now the president's falling down the steps. So I thought that's what happened. Then I watched the video and I saw that he just walked up to the escalator, stepped on the escalator, and the escalator broke. And you saw him stand at the bottom of the escalator like, what? And Melania didn't miss a beat. She just started walking up the escalator. And so there were people that were like, this was sabotage. UN needs to be investigated. Somebody needs to be arrested, right? But then he made it up the escalator / stairs. And he went to speak to the UN. Went to speech the whole of the UN. He's standing here, UN over there. And as soon as he goes to start, the teleprompter broke. We know the teleprompter broke because he told us. As soon as he walked up, he told us, teleprompter broke. First the escalator, teleprompter broke. Nothing here work. Nothing. No, teleprompter. And it's like, look, if you're delivering a speech and it's been, uploaded to teleprompter, then teleprompter breaks, all right, like, that is something to be annoyed or caught off guard about. But I'm sitting there watching, like, why do you care that the teleprompter, you're not gonna read it, like you're not. Every speech is off the dome. Every speech you can tell every speech he's over here freestyling every time. Why do you even have a speechwriter? The president's speechwriter right now gotta be the easiest job in the world. You just over here typing up chapters from Great Expectations, knowing he's not gonna read it. Knowing he's just gonna go, you know what I mean? He goes off of vibes. What do you care that the teleprompter's broke? You weren't gonna look at it. You might have read the first couple sentences and then been like, you know what? I'm gonna speak from the heart. And so the teleprompter broke it. And so he's like, I guess I'll just have to. Which was also wild because the speech was printed out in front of him. But he was like, no, you want me to turn pages? No. Then proceeds to, give this address to the UN, and it depending on who you talk to, depending on whose opinion you're listening to, it did not go fantastic. Because the energy of the speech was like the normal energy. It was like rally energy, like talking to his base or something. But this is the UN. They don't live here. Like they're not that. some of the stuff they don't care about. Like you talking to the UN, everyone's here. He's over here like inherited a mess and we fixed it and like years ago we were down in the dumps and now we're the hottest country in the world. He keeps saying we're the hottest country in the world and I don't know what that means. I feel like even the UN was like, so what? Climate change? What does he mean the hottest? This is also wild because like you talking to other countries right now. Why are you dunking on them right now? Then dude's over here. I ended like 7 wars. And it's just funny because like everybody he talking about is there. So now some of these countries look at each other across the desk like, I don't know. I didn't even, what did I say? It was incredible. And then there was a weird thing. I think it was Brazil. He was talking about the leader of Brazil and how, like, first of all, this dude also tariffing everybody. So then he was talking about how he doesn't do deals with people he doesn't like, but then he had a good handshake with the leader of Brazil, so maybe they could work something out. Even Brazil had to be like, yo, I don't know. I just saw him in the hallway. Out here trying to be cordial. I don't even know if this is good. Was it good? No, it's phenomenal performance. Truly, I've not seen anything like it. Just over here. I'm sure if you were at the UN just sitting there, you just sit there quietly listening, looking over at other countries. There's some countries that had just be chuckling. Like countries that aren't in the mix, you know what I mean? Like if you're not like a key member of BRICS or you're not, you know what I mean? Like if you're not like in the news in that way, you just come, you enjoy the show. Like I imagine maybe Zimbabwe might have been cracking up. They'd be like, that's your friend. That's your friend. But that wasn't the only incredible performance. That wasn't the only press conference. Because they held a press conference because they found it. They found it. They nailed it down. They found the cause. That's what they said. No one gathered everybody together, got the press conference going on. Looked like it was in the Oval Office. Yeah. And they were going to talk about the causes that they had found, the root cause of autism. This is what they said. And so, they walk in and you had Dr. Oz. Dr. Osmosis himself. Dr. Ozymandias. Like, Dr. Oz is standing there. And why? How did this happen? If we are just gonna start putting people from TV in real, government position, in real medical field, can we at least get somebody from, Grey's Anatomy or something? You know what I mean? If we are already not being serious, can we not be serious better? Who is checking for Dr. Oz besides Oprah? Who is... He's standing there, doesn't even really look that healthy himself. This man's advice so far has been actually insane. They've done interviews with him. He's, spoken to the public. Like, what would you suggest for Americans? The man's out here. If you want to, if you don't look, if you don't want to be sick, be healthy. I wish I was joking. I wish, I can barely take credit for that one. I changed like 2 words. So you got Dr. Oz. It's from TV on one side. And then you have y'all know who he is. And then you have RFK Jr. on the other side, looking odder than usual. If y'all saw it, you know what I'm talking about. RFK Jr. showed up. I don't know what's happening. Because it wasn't like a tan. Like he looked like a bruised blueberry. Like he looked wild and nobody addressing it. Nobody saying anything. The president over here just trying to not use his peripheral vision. RFK Jr. is white. No, that is a white man. He's white. He's a white guy. But that's the first time I've ever seen a white guy and been like, he is colored. Like that. Yo, my man, what is happening? He just stand there like he been holding his breath for 26 years. This is very bad. And then, I don't know who told him. I imagine it could have been somebody, higher up, but it could even just been an aide that told the president, okay, you're going to give this press conference, you're going to talk about links to autism, and what you need to do, this is very important, for legal, this is very important for a lot of reasons, what you need to do is say the name of the drug. Then you can go on and say the brand name. But you need to say the name of the drug because the drug is what we're saying is the link, not one particular brand. So there are other like store brands that are this drug. You need to say the drug. Say the drug. You have to say the drug. Okay? Say the drug. And I'm sure he attacked it with that regular, bravado. I'm gonna say it, whatever. Get out of here. Let me work. Let me get in the zone, all right? I got you in my ear. I got him over here being purple. Let me work. It goes up, starts the speech. It's rolling. It's rolling with it. And then he hit a more than 8-letter word. And then the commander-in-chief, leader of the free world, in real time, in front of us, the American public, technically the whole world, because the internet, our leader in front of the nation, at a press conference they called. Our leader in real time sounded it out. I try really hard. No matter who somebody is, no matter the background, no matter the situation, really treat people like equals, not like look at people a certain type of way. We all struggle. We all have our different strengths and weaknesses and everything. But I'm just going to go out on a limb and say it. If you are 80 and you haven't attacked a word before, maybe it's just not a word you ever going to get. Like if you... It's late. It's late for him to be sounding out new words. Because the word, you could see, he could see the word coming up. And sounded it out confidently, too. Just over here, ace. Some toast, sis. And it's not like it was in the mic. You couldn't hear it into the mic, but you could tell Dr. Oz was standing there trying to do hard ventriloquism. Just... Dr. Oz was standing there like, just open your mouth, let me do it. Just... Dr. Oz was fighting to just, you could see him. See him in the face. I see him in the face. I said, Tom, I see Trump, see him, man. I knew when he looked around, we were cooked. Like I knew when that man looked up from the paper, I was like, no, stay on it, stay on it. Stay with it, you almost got it. I was, Tom, I see him, I see him in a Tylenol, and like that. That is also wild too. Gave us the full, what is it, Porky Pig? Gave us the full Tylenol. And he was hitting those teas, that Tylenol, extra hard. He was getting his payback with those teas. Tylenol, don't take that Tylenol. When y'all see Tylenol. Because it was rough. It was rough. It was like, you've been in third grade before. You know, remember You remember when a teacher, okay, I didn't even know this at the time, but it was basically when a teacher had like a hangover, and so then the teacher would just make y'all read the book to each other. At the time, I really thought it was about learning, and now that I'm grown enough to have friends that are teachers, I'm like, no, you had a bender. That's what this is. Don't try to put this off on the students. You know, you seeing double right now. And so it would be, your turn would be coming up. And you would do a thing. Somebody would be reading over here, and you start counting people and counting paragraphs. And then you read ahead a little bit so that when it's your time to read your paragraph, you're reading your paragraph all fast and everything. People can't even retain the information. Then, there'd always be that one kid. There'd be that one kid where it's like, when you get to his paragraph, that's going to last till the end of class. So you literally count your paragraph till you have to read, and then you count paragraphs, and you like, the bell going to ring here. Sometimes to be a kid, everybody learns differently. We all have different abilities, and you do your best to be as patient as possible. I remember, I had one kid in my class that we would do that, and then his paragraph be coming up. And as soon as his paragraph start, everybody's like, and then he would start and he would be sounding it out and then hit the word and then sounding it out. Everybody learns at a different pace. Sounding it out, hit the word. Sound it out, hit the word. Sometimes he'd even go back, sound it out, hit the word, say the last 3 words together. He's learning. We're all learning. Everybody moves in their own time. But sometimes, I'll be honest with you, I was a kid too. I wasn't always patient. Sometimes he'd be sitting there and be like, and I'd be like, A, it's A, it's A, it's A, it's A. You already hit it. It's A, it's A. There's nothing left to do. It's A, it's A. It is A. You did it. High five. You did it. It's A. It's only A. And then you grow up and you mature and you realize that everybody's good at stuff. People aren't as good at stuff and everything. Because I'll tell you what, I could read, when I was a kid, I could read, very good at reading. My math wasn't great. So then when it came to math, it was me who was like a little bit behind all the time, especially when we got to like algebra. Because I could factor a little bit. I understood denominators and stuff like that. Like I felt like I was keeping up and everything. But when we hit algebra, all of a sudden the tables were turned. This is why you have to be as patient with people as you want them to be with you. Because I'm sitting there. For the first time, there's letters. There's letters in the math problem, but I'm sitting over here like, and then he was sitting there like, it's 4, it's 4, it's 4. And so, he's over there. He went ahead and dunked on that acetaminophen and then went ahead and started saying Tylenol, started describing to the people things that were not on the paper in front of him. Which is why you definitely shouldn't be upset when the teleprompter doesn't work. You know is what you're gonna do. This man was just throwing out all types of wild claims. This dude was like, hey, look, the Amish, don't have any autism. And a couple times in this press conference, he would say something, then turn to somebody and be like, is that true? But man, no, it's all on the paper. They put it all on the paper. You had RFK Jr. turn from purple to red. Because then he just started going off on like vaccines in general, and just started saying like, look, it's too much. It's too much. And he's not the first person. He's not the only person to be saying that. It's too much at one time. You got those beautiful babies and you shooting them up with 80 shots of liquid. The thing that stuck out to me about the liquid thing is that you could tell he wanted to say juice. You could tell he's like, they put too much juice in them babies. Nobody need all that vaccine juice. No, it was truly wild. And then it was over. And then it was over. I can't imagine what it must have been like to be on the board of Tylenol. If you're on the board of Tylenol watching this press conference, you over here probably on a whole roller coaster of emotions. Like, at first you'd be sweating because they had let it slip several times that this is basically what the topic was going to be and what was going to be said. It had been like, pieced out, little flavor, little sprinkle here and there for the media all the way up until that press conference, right? But then, when they actually said it, I'm sure Tylenol was stressing when they said this is what the press conference was going to be about. This is what they were going to talk about. You work at Tylenol, you sitting there, edge of your seat. And then he goes to say the name of the drug. And you're probably like, this might not be that bad for us, honestly. He almost said a cinnamon. We might be in the clear here. All we got to do is come out with a label, no cinnamon in our product. We'll be fine. And then he says your brand name. Then he says your brand name over and over again. And now you're like, that's not good. That one came out perfectly. And then he talks about the Amish and you're like, I guess if people watch the whole thing, they'll be confused enough to not know if they should take it or not. Because my thing is, look, why have such an unforced error? You know what I mean? Go ahead. You already got Caroline Levitt talking to the media all the time. Get her out there to start the thing. Get her to say the name of the drug and then walk off. Then you can go and just go off your vibes and everything. You had two people on either side of you that probably say the name of the drug all the time. Don't let him, but let Dr. Oz say it. Let him earn his keep. No, he over here supposed to be a doctor. Got the shortest name I've ever seen. Because I do my best to be up on the news, but I don't always want to talk about, politics and stuff. Sometimes there's stuff that happens that has nothing to do with anything political, and it just warms your heart to see it. You'll see a news story that captivates you, and it doesn't take you into like any sort of polarized position, Like I saw this South Carolina teacher that got arrested for using fart spray on the students as a punishment. Look, I'm not a teacher. I come from like a family of teachers, people that work in education. And like kids have always and will always drive adults insane. It's like part of the bargain that we have is part of the truce, you know? It's like y'all won't do a Lord of the Flies, y'all just be bad in school and we'll pay the bills. And like I can't imagine what it's like to teach, especially now. You have kids who genuinely, because of like lockdown and COVID and stuff like that, missed out on little pieces. You have adults now who missed out on like a full college experience. You also have little kids who missed out on having their friends over and, being able to socialize at a very specific point in their life. So everybody's been like knocked off their kilter a little bit by COVID and by lockdown, not being able to just be with each other. That's just, a fact. And because of how school was going in that time, you have people who are really behind because they didn't have that special attention. You had to do school on Zoom with a bunch of other students, and maybe a kid needed help and they couldn't get it immediately, not in the way you can get it when you're present, I can't imagine what it would be like right now to be in school, sitting there, trying to do my algebra like zzz, zzz, zzz. And so then the kids come back to school and, some of them are excited to see their friends. Some of them are still trying to learn how to socialize. Some of them, maybe aren't as affected as others. But kids will be kids. Kids will be loud. They won't listen, all that stuff. And then what do you do if you're a teacher? You got teachers out here fighting for their lives just to try to teach you some English. You see videos of it all the time, teachers going through it because students don't want to listen, all this stuff. This is the person that's just trying to make sure you know how to spell. So one day, if you make it all the way to the White House and you have to address the nation, you won't be like, cinematosis. And so if you're a teacher, you know what I mean? What do you do? Like my teachers used to yell. Teachers yell. It happens. Hey, stop! And you can tell. There's a certain yell, especially when you got like a male teacher. There's a certain yell that you can tell you broke him because his voice cracked. You know what I mean? Like, if he's like, hey, hey, y'all, chill out, right? And he's had enough of it, and maybe you're the first period of the day. You know what I mean? Y'all being a little loud. Hey, listen up, right? Something happened at about 5th period and on, where if you really got him at his wits' end, he'd be like, hey! Can't even help you people. That's how you can tell. That's how you can tell when a teacher really at the edge, when they just start talking to the students like they are society. Like it's like you do your best, You go to a state school to save money because you know you're not going to make it here. You got a passion for Spanish, so you try to teach it to you knuckleheads. Just truly, teacher ready to cry. Over here, you get that third shut up. Sometimes that third shut up doesn't have any bass behind it. It sounds a little bit, shut up! Leaning against the board. I don't know what to do. And so what do? You know what I mean? Yelling doesn't work. You can't hit them. Somebody came up with a plan. Somebody was like, y'all don't respect me? Okay, y'all don't respect me? You will respect this. Because I've read different reports. Some reports say he was like doing a prank or whatever. Some reports say he was like mad about whatever. But I'm telling you, he could have done it for any amount of reasons. Maybe this dude didn't take his job seriously. Maybe, he was out here just trying to prank for fun. He's somehow like a teacher's assistant, whatever, and still hadn't like grown up. So then he's over here. Ooh, look at you, stinky. Ooh. Ooh, stink butt over here. Ooh. Maybe. But maybe he had enough. You can only take so many spitballs to the back of the neck before you snap. Maybe this dude came in one day and was like, all right, look, I hate this, come to this, I really do. But please believe me, if you talk all the time or you never talked before, anybody can get it, all right? I'm not gonna lose my voice this week because y'all don't wanna learn. Anybody can get it. Anybody. I'm gonna put it right here. And I'm begging y'all not to test me. As soon as somebody's talking to their friend, he's like, what? He must have been brandishing it. He must have been wielding it because apparently, like, from what I read, like 100 parents complained or something. This dude got arrested, and then I think they said like 2 students went to the hospital or something like that. And I'm sure you over there in interrogation tried to defend yourself. They should have thought about that asthma when they were doing all that talking, all right? How do we know it was a spray? What if it was that talking that caused the asthma attack? Over here, mouth moving 100 miles a minute. I'm trying to teach something. Listening is easy to breathe. Because I wonder how much he must have done it. You know what I mean? Was it just off of anything? Just one little noise? Huh? Or did he wait? Was he like writing on the board, letting the chatter sort of build? And then that's the thing. When you're a kid in class, you always think you're good if you're just not as loud as the loudest person. But that noise rises the entire level of the volume, because now if everybody's talking a little bit, somebody's going to get a little bit more confident, get a little louder. Everybody starts talking a little louder. And as long as they're not as loud as the loud one, now everybody's basically screaming just so they can hear themselves because they're all doing so much talking. And next thing you know, he whips around. Hey! Y'all gonna learn today. Because even the school said that he did $55,000 worth of damage. How? It must just be in the walls now. Tell you what, though. I've been reading as much news as I can about it, and there's no way to be fully up to date because it's all still developing. But they really won't let us have or not have TikTok. There's so much conflicting news. I've never seen so many notifications on news notifications that said maybe. No news is solidified. You know what I mean? Like, is TikTok banned or is it not? You know? Because it's like not right now. But it's not right now the way... TikTok feels like how I used to pay my light bill. Do you know what I mean? Because it be looming. I'm like, they gonna shut it off. I gotta get together, they gonna shut it off. All right. And then I call them up and be like, look, if I can get you $45 today, how much light will that get me? And like, well, your bill is past due. So past due is past due. We got to shut it off as past due. And I'm like, but it would be less past due if it was $45 closer to not past due, right? And they're like, sir, it doesn't really work like that. I'm like, it works however you work it. Come on, I need to see. Because there was this looming ban, and then the Biden administration, which is wild. Both, at one point, Trump didn't want TikTok. Trump was like, I'm going to ban TikTok. This is years ago, but he was like, I'm going to ban TikTok. And then not much really happened with it. Then they actually passed a bill under Biden where they were going to ban TikTok. And then it was looming for months. And it felt like nobody was really talking about it. Not no one as in absolutely no one, but just the news and stuff. There were other things to cover. And then it got close. And then it got to yesterday. And it was gone. And it was gone early. It was supposed to be this morning that they cut it off. And then last night they were like, let's be safe. And they shut it off. But when they shut it off, I was like, I don't know if they really needed to do that. We had 4 more hours here. I was looking at the way I look at my light bill. If they had cut off my light early, I'd be like, just because I don't have the money doesn't mean you got to take. Now you owe me 4 hours of light. That's 4 hours where I better see at night. We have so little faith in our government actioning anything that we were like, nah, it's probably not going to get banned. They said that, but they say stuff. That's what they do. They just be talking all the time. You ever watch C-SPAN? That's just them talking. And then they talk, and then they're like, no, we promise you'll have health care eventually. And then we're like, well, it still hurt, and it's infected now. So I guarantee you they're not going to ban it because I've been sick. Been sick, and they said they were going to help me, and they still working on helping me. So there's no way they could do one thing before the other. They got to help me with my sickness before they ban the app. Oh no, they did it. Okay, wow. It also comes down to what people use the apps for, because they all serve a different purpose. Lots of people have everything, by the way. Lots of people have all the platforms because they use them for different things. Even if they post the same thing on everything, they get different things out of it, different feedback from the different communities that are on all the platforms, right? Because every platform has a different function. You go Facebook. Facebook is general life updates, but in a major way. It's when paragraphs worth of stuff has happened to you. And there's pictures too, but the pictures usually go along. Usually it's somebody quit their job, so they post a picture of a sunset, and then they just talk about everything their job ever did wrong to anybody. Really air out the whole job in the post. Twitter is mostly for when you hate something. You mostly bring what you hate to Twitter to get other people mad about it. I've had good days, and then I accidentally opened Twitter, and I got mad about a whole host of things that I've never thought I would be mad. I didn't even know it existed until I read about it on Twitter. I don't even know if it's real. It could be a lie, but I'm very angry. It's so bad on Twitter that Elon Musk was like, we gotta start being more positive, y'all. The richest, trolliest troll of all time was getting lit up so hard. He was like, y'all, kindness is the way, though. Not the more I live, the longer I live, the more I can tell that positivity, that's the stuff. Instagram is in an interesting place right now. I'm sure everybody has a different algorithm, but Instagram been a lot more butts lately for me. And all I really do is like look up pictures of Shiba Inus. And so I don't know where they're getting Shiba Inu and then just ass from that. But we are where we are. You know, Reddit is a huge platform that doesn't get enough credit for being like in the top 5 of like used platforms. You know? And on Reddit, that's where the secrets come out. You find out stuff on Reddit you didn't think was humanly possible. People will tell you stuff on Reddit that either happened to them or that they did where you wish that there was, you know how people said for a long time, Facebook wouldn't do anything about it. For a long time, everyone was using Facebook. So this was talking about like when I was in like high school, college, everybody was using Facebook and they were like, why can you only like stuff? You should be able to dislike stuff. You should be able to, and they finally added all the emoji icons for the different reactions to a post. On Reddit, when I'm reading sometimes, I deeply wish that there was just a police icon, just so I could be like, all right, that is jail. That's jail. Because the amount of jail-worthy things that get admitted on Reddit is truly astounding. The level of honesty coming out would make a detective shudder. Sometimes a detective is in the room hearing somebody's confession, and all the detective posts under it in the thread is, that's crazy. Like, this is your job, sir. There are bodies to find. And then TikTok served a new purpose. TikTok was in this really interesting place. I don't know if it still is to everyone, but it had the jump. It had the corner market when it came out on like authenticity. You could blow up on TikTok by being yourself. There was no like algorithmic thing that you had to figure out. Some people went that route. Some people were like, oh, you know, you have to have a flash on your video in the first 2.5 seconds. That'll make people blink. And before they know it, they've been watching for 10 minutes. Like, there were all these posts about how to get people on your page and keep them there and get followers, stuff like that. But mostly what people were won over with and how followings grew was people just being themselves. In fact, people on TikTok didn't like a polished look. That was like a real separation from the rest of social, because everything else, whether it was YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, even Reddit, when videos were posted to a degree, people really got into the production quality because for so long, all we had was Hollywood. Those are the only people that could make things that looked good, that were entertaining. And so then when it started to break out away just from Hollywood into the masses, and if you're very talented and you know what to do with a camera and you can tell a story, now people are watching your thing because it's Hollywood quality. But TikTok came along and people liked that it was messy. They liked that you were just in your room. They liked that you were just talking to them. Maybe your mic was a little off. The amount of people who post TikTok have a camera in their car to talk to the world. That's a TikTok thing. Instagram didn't have that. If you tried to talk to people on Instagram from your car in a video, telling them your thoughts, your feelings about life, you go back before TikTok blew up, you try to do this in your car on Facebook, people would be like, oh, you mentally ill. Okay. I didn't know. I had no idea until you started talking about your breakup in your car. Like I was in the room with you, but I'm not. Like TikTok invented all that stuff. Like I'm not saying that there weren't people who were posting and streaming and doing stuff everywhere, but I'm talking about making it normal, right? That was a TikTok thing. And even if you have the same piece of information, you post it to the platform with different expectations, you know? Let's say you got engaged and you tell everybody on Reddit. Not everyone, but a lot of people on Reddit, when you post your engagement photo, for some reason they'll rip you apart. For some reason, They'll really come for you and be like, why you so tall? Of course, another Chad gets a girl. I mean, because people on Reddit, they can be incredible and they can be ruthless. Like any app, all of them. But Reddit, people have a special talent for getting in those feelings. You know what I mean? Like, you'll just post a picture of your hand with the finger, with the engagement ring on it. Why your finger's so fat? I'm surprised you got it on. You're going to have to leave it on for the rest of your life. It's never coming off now. I hope he the one, because that ring never slipping off. You could have all the butter in the world, okay? You post your engagement to Twitter. Good luck. They may not rip you apart, but you may be served with like an entire essay about how marriage was actually this form of slavery that's been used by the patriarchy since the beginning of time, but really in feudalism to control women and stop them from finding any joy or autonomy of their own. And every time they try to break away from this sort of structure, they get beat back down by other women, actually, with the expectation that they're going to build a nuclear family, because without them, the country will fall into shambles and it'll all be their fault. I mean, everything is a woman's fault when you think about it, but for the most part, this one thing will be their fault because it's them actually doing it. You know what I mean? And then you'll get to the bottom and be like, I regret posting. You'll post your engagement to Instagram. Instagram, I'm not gonna lie, that will be one of the better places to post, but it will be filled with a lot of fake love. It'll be filled with a lot of comments like, oh, girl, you look so good. Oh, wow, and what a beautiful, the lighting and everything. Where people on Instagram go to talk trash is the DM. You know what I mean? So everything they would have said to your face on Reddit, they say behind your back in the DM after they post, and they give it a like and they comment, ooh, you two were meant for each other. It's not gonna last. Post is here, DM is here, and people going back and forth. They'll start a whole thread under you. They'll start a whole thread under your post about how perfect y'all are for each other. I remember the first day that y'all met. It was so sweet, and he asked if he could buy you a drink. He's a total creep. I always knew he was a creep. At least she got him off the streets. It's just wonderful that your love has lasted so long. Y'all been together for 4 years. That's incredible. What a beautiful relationship. I'm surprised it took him this long. Yeah. One time, I had a friend get engaged, and sure enough, they posted to Instagram. The whole thing was going down. It was all happening, right? It was all happening. All the love, all the likes, all the you know, like when the emoji is the yellow emoji, but the eyes are hearts and the mouth is way too wide. You know what I'm talking about? You're like, and it was all of that. And then a thread got started with these two friends just gushing over the pictures and how they looked and how cute it was because he brought the dog. And then it was like him and the dog were proposing, like, be part of our family. It was so sweet. And then at the very bottom, they must have mistaken the post for the DM, because the very bottom, one of the friends was like, bitch. You post your Instagram, you expect certain things, you know. You post your engagement to TikTok, anything could happen. Because once again, the thing that led people to people was their sort of authenticity. So if you post to Instagram, now the parasocial relationship that gets built on Instagram is different, because those people are like people that you probably kind of knew. Facebook used to just be people that you know. And Instagram made it more popular to have friends that you were never going to meet, but you do know, right? TikTok now has completely lost that sort of connection, but there is a parasocial relationship from the amount of time someone has been following you. So you post your engagement to TikTok, and people are either over the moon for you, or they're like, why am I seeing this? What's so special about your love that's on the For You page? Like, I'm not really digging this at all. It's either people who have watched you make TikToks about going on a date, about meeting the person, about dating the person, and then now you're engaged and they feel like they're there with you because they've watched you over this 4-year period. Get close to a person, start to trust them, talk about love, talk about relationship, and now you're engaged. It just feels like this moment that everyone's having together, right? Maybe you're pregnant. And you post your pregnancy announcement to Reddit. Yep. You post your pregnancy announcement to Reddit, and Reddit is like, good for you, I guess. Glad that you found somebody to bring somebody into the world with and stuff. Good. Happy for you. Here's a picture of Pikachu for some reason. You post your pregnancy announcement to X. And a thread starts. A thread from a quote tweet of you posting your pregnancy from someone who doesn't know you, talking about how pregnancy is actually a patriarchal tool that's been used since the beginning of time. Since Eve, it's been used as a structure to hold women down, connected to men that do not deserve them, all right? Men that just sort of anchored them to the family unit. And they say that they'll be providers, but they go off and they die in wars caused by other men for treasure and for land. And then you are left with the child, and a child that will eventually resent you for not having that sort of male figure in their life, because it's your fault that he went to war. It's your fault that there was even a war, because you were just living being a woman while there was war. How dare you, right? And so then people start arguing in the thing. People you don't know, by the way. You don't know these people at all, but now they're arguing about the merits of pregnancy. And then it turns into this weird thing about if you should breastfeed or use formula. And then everybody's like kind of attacking each other on that, and people are saying some really out-of-pocket things, and you don't really know who these people are because they have like avatars of anime, but at the same time they're talking about how like you're not a real mom unless you breastfeed, and you're like, in what world are you even human or are you AI? Like this feels like the CIA or something. It's crazy. You post your pregnancy to Instagram. Get ready. Get ready for the overwhelming amount of fake love and bad advice. Random bad advice too. Comments that are not only not helpful, they're almost not what the post is about in a way. It'll be like, congratulations, but don't drink any lemon water for 7 months, all right? Like, why? It's like, oh, I did, and now my son is a felon. It's like, you post your pregnancy to Facebook. People are over the moon, you know? They're like, oh, I can't. That's amazing. Look at you. I even read the whole thing. I even read the whole post, and now I'm going to give it the little hug one. You know, the hug one? You only use the hug one when somebody's pregnant or when something really bad has happened. You only use the hug emoji in the best of times or the worst of times. There's no in between. It's never, I got a new job, hug emoji. It's either like, this is the best day of my life, hug emoji, or at 12:58, we lost. You post your pregnancy announcement to TikTok. It's going to be wild. It's going to be wild because while you're posting to TikTok in the announcement that you're pregnant, yeah, you might have followers that are excited for you, but you stub your toe. And when you stub your toe, for a split second, you just hit your toe because you're walking and talking because you don't have it on the tripod. You got your phone in your hand because once again, we like authenticity. Obviously, a ring light is good. We like to see the people. But for the most part, we just want to feel like we're part of your life. And so you're going around, look at the baby room, everybody. That's because we're pregnant. Yay. Oh. And now that one errant noise is the most popular TikTok of all time. That one errant noise. There's just people are now putting that noise to whole historical events, right? You'll see a whole historical event. You'll see the most irreverent posts. You know, somebody will pull something in black and white, something like the Hindenburg or something, and just your voice going, oh! I mean, somebody will make a TikTok of their uncle falling down with no noise except you going, oh! No, we're deeply unserious people. It's all in how we communicate. Like, even if you're having an argument, like, let's say, maybe it's not a breakup, but let's say it's to that level where you're like, should I break up with this person? We're not getting along. We're not getting along at all. This doesn't even make any sense. You shouldn't be in a relationship that has this much stress. And so then you go ahead and you post exactly what happened from your point of view to Reddit. It's some of the best reading you'll ever read in your life. You know, some of the best reading of all time, you know. Am I wrong? Am I the a-hole? All this stuff. It's great. And you post everything that happened. And then the opinions start flowing in, right? And the opinions are anything from, look, I think that with enough communication and an understanding of a genuine foundation of the love that you have for each other, y'all can come to a consensus about what happened. It goes from that to kill him in his sleep. Go ahead. No, I wouldn't take that if I was you. If it were me, I'm gonna make him a pie. I'm gonna fill it full of glass. And then he gonna be eating the pie because he greedy. He gonna be eating the pie. I love apple pie. I know you love apple pie, stupid. I know it. And he gonna be eating the apple glass pie. And then all of a sudden he gonna be like, yo, my stomach hurt. And then he gonna reach for his phone. I'm gonna grab the phone. And use the phone to record him. While he on the ground. Ooh, my stomach hurt. Ooh. Then I'm gonna ask him, was it worth it? Do you feel right now? And then I might call the ambulance, I might not. Let me see how I feel when I do it. People will admit to whole crimes they're willing to commit based off of things that other people said when they just simply ask the question, am I wrong? You said, hey, am I wrong? I don't want to go to another one of my spouse's office parties, and they threw a big tantrum about it. Am I wrong? And then someone on Reddit was like, no, you're not wrong. In fact, you should kill them right now. Kill them before they can even go to work again. And then a detective in the chat room, in the thread, is like, that's crazy. I wouldn't do that. You post an argument that you're having to X. Here's what happened. Look, I'm just throwing it out there. This is what happened. And then you get quote tweeted. Someone you don't know who knows the situation because they read the tweet, but is clearly inserting a lot from their life into the argument you're having. Because you're like, hey, I don't want to go to another one of my spouse's office parties. Am I wrong? Because they threw a big tantrum about it, said that I don't support them and stuff. And then someone quote tweets it and they say, you know what? I've been in a situation like this, and while we don't know each other, I feel like we're in a similar boat because the person that I was dating at the time was very selfish, and anytime I wanted to do something or not do something for my own well-being, they didn't want to hear it. They didn't want to be a part of it, right? It was either their way or the highway. It was either their way or I was a bad partner, you know? And just because I didn't want to be with them while they were doing their work, I was a bad partner, which isn't fair because they were a drug mule, all right? They were a drug mule, and because I don't want to travel that much, I'm cool with them drug muling. I just don't like going to Mexico like that. I don't need that many trips to Tijuana. I just want to stay home one weekend. But they're like, no, you need to hold the bag. I don't want to hold the bag. You're the mule, not me. Mule better. Why are you muling with help? Do your job. It's your job. It's not our job. I work in an office. You post the argument that you're having to Instagram. And it's kind of hard because it's just like, it just doesn't really fit in that way. Like it's hard to be like, here's a picture of us arguing. Y'all go ahead and argue about it amongst yourselves, or you could even tell a story. You could try to tell a story about what happened, but people on Instagram just don't really engage like that sometimes. Like, obviously there's arguments on Instagram and people can go back and forth in the comments and stuff. But as far as like being with you throughout the story of the argument and swiping enough times to see the whole argument, it's probably not going to happen. You know what I mean? You post the argument that you're having to Facebook, and you do get a lot of opinions, but they're mostly emojis. They're mostly like, I'm sorry you're going through that, huh? You know? Or, I can't believe them, angry face. You know? Or worse, you just get a like. I don't even know what that means. I don't know whose side are you on. I'm asking for help, but you hit me with a like. That honestly, in text and on Facebook, is some of the most disrespect that you can do when somebody really needs help, when they really need something, and you hit them with a... Just say you don't care. Please, you didn't even care enough to type out, I don't care. You hit them with a... Y'all, I don't know. I'm in negotiations right now for a job, and they said that I should set my asking price, you know, for my salary, and I've never done that before. And I looked up the normal, like, market salary for the job that I'm doing, and it's a little high from what they advertise, but it's entry level, so I don't know if I should try to bump them up and let them bring me back down, or if I give them a price that's too high, that they'll just not call me back, you know? The disrespect. You post the argument that you're having to TikTok, and not only will someone take your side, they'll take the audio of you explain the argument, and they will set it to the most beautiful scenery you've ever seen. Use it as inspiration for somebody else to leave their partner. And they turned it back on this morning. It was gone for all of whatever. 12 hours some places. I feel bad for Canadians, because apparently it got shut off for some Canadians too, and they were like, what did we do? We weren't even really in it like that. How does that affect us? And then, you know, had a message this morning. They were like, oh, we're going to reinstate TikTok. And it's off of goodwill. It's off the faith that an executive order is coming on Monday from Trump that would extend the lifespan before a ban, right? But nothing has really changed, because the whole thing that they said was that as long as ByteDance maintains, like, ownership, or as long as it's Chinese owned, we can't have that. Only we can spy on us. Because I want to be clear here. The thing, I'm not acting as if there is nothing to be worried about with TikTok as far as like surveillance, as far as just sharing of information, everything. I'm just saying that, like, the apps, as soon as Apple saw all of the tracking that was going on, and that they could get in on that tracking, but they really didn't benefit from the tracking or not the tracking. People just were in the app store, right? They added a thing where now, when you open an app for the first time, or it's usually within the first few times you use an app, it'll open up and then you'll get an Apple notification that says, ask app not to track or allow, right? And the things I had to ask to not track was genuinely what, like, almost every app is spying on you. Apps that there's no way they're getting anything. I had an extra alarm app. The phone already come with an alarm, and I got an extra alarm because I didn't really like the alarm that the phone came with. So I said, let me download this alarm. And then it popped up on my phone, ask app not to track. I'm like, track what? I'm asleep. Like, who you gonna tell that I'm asleep? Can you imagine just sharing the data? Just every day he wake up at 8 o'clock. Do with that what you will. You know? Because honestly, that's how I feel about data. It's like everyone is stealing it or tracking it, and we as individuals have not fully embraced the importance of it, like the importance of that privacy, because we don't really know what it's like, because we were already spying on us. So we don't know what it's like to go from like no privacy to no privacy, and by what entity and how that affects us. You know, there's certain stuff that I'm sure is going to lead to something really horrible. They're going to track enough habits, and then they'll be able to target you with something you can't help but buy. That's usually the goal of it, is to like sell you another thing down the line, right? Nobody's really trying to get to me like that. Like the alarm app hitting up assassins. Like, hey, if you want to know where he is, he's going to be knocked out for the next 8 hours. You might want to make your move now. You know? But your privacy is important because it's yours. One of the things that even Google does, sometimes when you're on a route, right? Google will then ask you questions later from that route that you took. Hey, was it quick? Was it slow? How many people were there? And it's like, I don't work here. Do you know what I mean? Like, this isn't you weren't with me. You just put it in blue and I followed it. We don't have a relationship like that. How long did it take? Did it take the time that we said, or did it take 5 extra minutes? And it's like, stop trying to get me to help you with your homework. That's all it is. If they want you to do that for them, they should genuinely do something for you. You know, like I know the Maps app comes with the phone, but they should do something extra. You know, Google should do you a solid if they're going to get you to be doing them favors. You can't just glean all this stuff off of people and then give them nothing in return, right? Because then they don't even give you credit. They change the route. The next person that's going where you were going from where you were, they tell them, like, it's actually going to take 40 minutes, not 35. And they don't say, that's courtesy of Curtis. Curtis, the one, let us know how long it was actually going to take. We were over here just kind of guessing, and then Curtis was like, it took me 40. So now we said 40 to be safe, so you won't be mad at us and we'll look better, right? They don't do that. They're just like, 40 minutes, and I bet you were right. And I don't know. I don't know if it's good or not at all as far as like TikTok goes. People are genuinely addicted to TikTok, but they're addicted to a lot of things. But people are so addicted to TikTok that it made me change my mindset around some addictions, right? Because people will say the kids are addicted to TikTok and they're doing all this bad stuff and they're losing their minds when they can't be on their phone. But then you see, when the ban was looming, the people who were really like chronically on TikTok and were worried about the ban, they started downloading other apps. Apps that were more Chinese. There are people downloading like Red Note. Red Note on the cover, at least for me, didn't even say Red Note. That just said Chinese. It was written in Chinese. It could have said anything. Downloaded it, got on it. Chinese users were calling TikTok US users refugees to our face. And they weren't even being like hella rude. They weren't even clowning us that hard. They were just like, I know you don't have anywhere to go. So let this be a new home for you, okay? We embrace you. And people wanted TikTok in their lives so bad. They wanted it so bad that they were learning Chinese. Duolingo use of English to Chinese went up 216%. They wanted TikTok so bad. They were learning Chinese. They might still be learning Chinese because once again, this thing isn't over. They were learning Chinese in real time. I've never been so addicted it made me learn. Do you know what I mean? You know what no one has ever treated like crack? School, okay? No one has ever been outside their schoolhouse early. Just, I gotta get in, baby. No, they got all the math in there. I gotta get me some. Why would you lock the doors like that? You got all that geometry in there, all the shapes and stuff. You know how it is. I just want to be part of it. Let me do some factions, baby. Never. Even when you try to teach people the thing that they supposedly want to learn, sometimes they don't want to learn it. Sometimes you're not in the mood. Right? That's how you have. That's how I know that TikTok is one of the most powerful phenomenons we've experienced. There are people in college right now trying to get a degree in something that use ChatGPT often. This is the thing that you said you want to do with your life. You're literally going into debt to do it, and you're still like, "Hey, ChatGPT, what's a kidney?" Yeah, I mean, they got me over here doing all this pre-med biology, anatomy stuff and everything. What's a kidney? Like, do you even need that one? Is that like, can you get it removed like tonsils? No, man. It's insane. And I don't know what's next, you know? Because as of the time I'm talking to you right now, the executive order hasn't gone out. I'm not saying it wouldn't go out. It makes perfect sense for it to go out. Because even Trump himself has said that the U.S. should own a stake in it, right? But when he said the U.S. should own a stake in it, he, I think, meant more like the government. Because everything happening right now, make no mistake, is very good for TikTok. It's incredibly good for TikTok because now there's buyers coming out of the woodwork. They had this whole time to try to get some sort of stake. They were already talking to Microsoft a little bit, you know? And then now you see Mr. Beast, you see all these people like, "Hey, look, fine, y'all. I'll buy it. I'll do it," you know? And then Musk is like, "I'll buy it." And when Musk said he bought it, I was like, maybe just let China have this one. Like, that's not... I can't imagine Musk trying to run Twitter and TikTok. Because with Twitter, he ruined Twitter. And I'm not saying this as some bleeding heart liberal or something like that. Oh, Twitter's not what it used to be. He literally called it X, which nobody liked. I don't know anybody that was like, "X? Oh, yeah, that's badass, dog. Yeah." Because then when you tweet, you'll X. So then you could X somebody out. Like you could just be cursing them out on your tweets and you Xing them. I love that. Said nobody. He already changed the name to something that doesn't make sense. And then it's an insane app now. It's genuinely crazy. No one likes it. It was getting big. It was getting big for a minute with the Nazis. No, genuinely, Nazis were like all about Twitter for a second. They were like, first of all, we back, okay? First of all, we back because we were getting banned. We were calling people stuff and getting banned. We were posting swastikas and getting banned. And then we were saying we like wanted to kill everybody and we were getting banned. But now we back. You know? Never thought I'd see a Nazi try to crip walk before, but like, They were so excited when he reinstated all those accounts. They were like, hey. I'm doing that little dance. They can't really dance. They really just got the one move. You know what I mean? Okay. And then they got into it with Elon over different things. Because this is the thing that tripped me out about Elon buying Twitter and everybody saying it was because he was trying to save or maintain, preserve free speech, is that he immediately, even in the pursuit of buying, even before it was final, he was doing stuff that was like very anti-free speech. Like you would get into it with Elon, and then all of a sudden something would be like off with your account, right? And as soon as he took it over, he was like, guys, this whole blue checks off everybody liking you, that's done. That's done. You got to buy your blue checks now. You have to buy your cool, because it's the only way he knows how to do it. And then this dude made this weird check system which nobody understood. They just knew if you paid like $9 a month or whatever, people would actually see what you tweeted. And everybody was calling it tweet still. Everybody. I don't know who besides the news sometimes says X. And then he offers, hey, I'll buy this one too. If Elon had bought TikTok, I think it would have fundamentally destroyed communication. I feel like, yeah. And look, it may still happen. There may still come a day where, he buys TikTok, calls it X squared. He might buy TikTok and just rename it to something stupid. You'd be like, let's just get straight to the point. It's called Clock now. I mean, who knows? We really are in this holding pattern. It's a holding pattern that is deeply frustrating, and it's like one of the most symbolic ways that government can get in the way, because both Trump and Biden have said, I want a TikTok ban at one point. And then both Trump and Biden have tried to not enforce the thing that they said that they wanted. Because even with Biden, it got down to last 5 days of his presidency, and he was like, you know what? I'm going to do y'all a solid. I'm not even going to force the ban. I'm going to kick it over to Trump, let him see what he wants to do, right? As if that was a move. And then the Supreme Court got involved. The Supreme Court, they didn't just uphold the ban. They were like, and you better shut down. I was like, who are these nerds? I didn't even know the Supreme Court could do it. I knew that they could uphold the ban. I knew legally they could say something. I didn't know they could make anybody do anything. Now I'm confused who has the power, because then the Supreme Court was like, yeah, you have to shut down. And then Biden was like, I'm not going to force it. But the Supreme Court was like, you better shut down. And then Trump is like, well, I will issue an executive order. How does an executive order from one president beat another president's not doing anything about it? Do you see how it would be like if you were doing a bunch of illegal stuff, right? Let's say you're just doing hella illegal stuff. You got guns, you got drugs, you're doing all sorts of crimes. And then right at the same time, the FBI, the ATF, and the local police show up, and they just pointing guns at each other, arguing about who's gonna arrest you. Is what it feels like. It's like, who can do something? That's crazy. You sitting there, everybody got an AR-15 or a Glock, and you're like, look, I'll go with whoever, but just tell me before I move. Because y'all all got one point at each other and pointed at me. And I just did what I did. I don't want to be shot extra. And that's the thing. That's how it keeps you. That's how it keeps you ready to lose your mind, because you just want some form of clarity, you know? And this is all, sadly, all this is happening because the thing that TikTok gave people by existing as an app and allowing people to be on it was just community. That's all it is. People aren't necessarily just addicted to TikTok because they figured out an algorithm that was like very pleasing to the eye, or because videos are very short, or there's like earworm music that you can love to listen to over and over again, or it gets stuck in your head. Genuinely, the thing that addicted people to TikTok was community. It was like, oh, I've always been weird, and now I met weirdos like me. You'll get addicted to that. It's kind of that thing. Getting addicted to community is not necessarily a bad thing. It's kind of what having a family is like. You know? But we're so genuinely fractured in how we move that it's easier to build community and relationship with people that are distant from you online than it is like right here. Like, you ever tried to make a friend in real time? Making a friend in real time. You ever thought you were friends with somebody and then you went in for the hug? Getting a hug rejected is way worse than getting a kiss rejected. Like, a kiss is just like, okay, we're at a level, I thought something was happening that wasn't happening. You know what I mean? And the kiss getting rejected is very subtle because you can lean in, they can be like, what are you doing, right? Getting a hug rejected is a whole dodge. That's a whole Heisman right there. You ever go to hug somebody you think is your friend? I think I'm friends with people way too fast. So you ever go to hug somebody you think is your friend and then you get a hand in the chest? It's like, whoa, what you doing, buddy? What's the plan here? I've tried to hug people before that look like they would rather me rob them. You know? So it's hard. It's hard to even guess what's going to happen, because one of the main reasons that they wanted a ban was because they could not control the flow of information, and they could not control the way that people were communicating with each other. You know, if you can control community, then you have everything. If you can tell a whole community what to do or how to think, then you have a power over them that is really scary, because it's not just a connection that you have with them to get them to do something. It's the fact that them going against the grain may make them lose everything. It's how cults work, you know? And everything that they accuse TikTok of doing is already what Facebook does. It's already what Twitter does, Instagram. You know? They just do it in a different way. And they do it in a way that's not as cohesive, right? Because they are really trying to get your money. And so you look at something like how people operate on TikTok. And sure, there's misinformation everywhere. There's people maybe leading people down a bad path. You wouldn't have some of the hardcore manosphere type dudes without TikTok either, you know? Young people watching this thing. This guy seems cool. He's got a cool car, and he's telling you he can get you girls, he can get you whatever. And so then you watch the next one, the next one, the next one. And before you know it, you are kind of talking like him. You are doing what he does. But that can happen anywhere. That's not a thing specific to TikTok. Social is very powerful, and it's powerful in a way that I think we underestimate sometimes, because you got to remember that our grandparents did not grow up with this stuff. This is ours. This thing, when you were a kid and the internet was popping off, you know, or maybe you're younger than that and the internet's just always been around. It makes me feel pretty old. You know, I remember I had to explain a modem. Having to explain a modem makes you look like you drove the first Ford vehicle. Like, I had to explain the modem, not just like, I had to explain that like a modem and a router used to be different. And that you used to have to put one here and put one here. It was a different thing. And then they combined it one day, and y'all spoiled because now all of it in one. When you buy the internet, when they send you internet to your house, it made me talk old. Just like, I got so I got so caught up in like the fact that they were born in like 2003 that I was like, no, see, you spoiled, because when they send that internet to your house, when you plug in them internets, you just get it right away. We didn't always get it. We had to troubleshoot it. We had to be like, now the router say I got internet, but the modem say I don't. So then let these two battle it out real quick. You know, sometimes you got a modem in and the modem didn't even work. You be getting mad. You shaking the modem. Because our grandparents didn't grow up with this sort of thing, but they are just, look, Facebook is their TikTok. Every generation of people has a TikTok is TikTok for the young people. A little bit older, Instagram is our TikTok. And then Facebook is TikTok. You want to know how I know it's their TikTok? Because the things that they pull off of Facebook, the things they say to me that they saw on Facebook, I've never heard in the history of my life. I remember when TikTok came out and I was like, damn, everybody 18 and younger can just dance now. That's crazy. Everywhere I do, you would see people making TikToks out in the world just in a parking lot like, you know? And then you see that. It's not dancing. It's in the form of like conspiracy theories with our grandparents. Our grandparents saying stuff coming off of Facebook I've never heard before. They'd be like, hey, you know them dinosaur eggs they found? What? Them dinosaur eggs they found. They full of gold. My boy was talking. Straight up. He was talking to his granddad. His granddad had been going down this thread of conversation, had joined this community on Facebook, and his granddad genuinely explained to him what was happening that nobody was talking about right now, really went into lots of detail and stuff. And what his granddad thought was actually happening in the current moment was just the plot of the movie The Mummy. It was just him being like, no, see, you don't understand. So they buried these dudes a while back. They mummies, right? But then they buried them with these like talisman type things. And so they could wake up at any moment. Like, you gonna see it. It's gonna be just like COVID. You know, everybody gonna be living their life. Then all of a sudden somebody gonna be like, oh, and then... the levels of conspiracy I've seen on Facebook lets me know that, like, okay, part of what's happening is that they literally join. It says it, community. They join this community. And they talk to these people all the time. These people get each other riled up. They enjoy each other's company, at least in a sense, right? They're typing, but it's still like somebody is there. If you want your grandparents to stop believing in conspiracy theories that they get off of Facebook, just call them. It would be the biggest distraction to conspiracy theories we've ever seen. Just just distract them. Just be like, hey, you on the computer right now? Hey, how about you just sit down and chat with me? Let's FaceTime. And then in the FaceTime, you can make sure that you don't see the glow of a computer on their face. And you can just talk to them about things that are actually happening. How's your day going? Oh, well, you know, my hip isn't what it used to be. You know what I mean? But just that, building community with your family, stops this thing of like, you know, them dinosaur eggs. I don't know. I don't know if it's good or bad anymore. You know, like a part of me thinks that maybe it's pretty good because of what I saw as it was shutting down. I saw people sharing some of the first TikToks they ever watched, some of the first ones they ever fell in love with. Everybody was like really coming together. I didn't even see a bunch of infighting. There wasn't like 5 things that men should stop doing if they ever want to date again. It's like, it was just people being like, hey, remember this thing? That was pretty funny. That was so nice. You know? And I hope it can continue that way. I hope we can always treat TikTok like this thing that we almost lost if it does stay. You know? Because when you almost lose something, you kind of hold it a little bit more precious, right? And then it could be like the opposite of X. It could be like but the main thing that people got so rabid over with TikTok was just connection. You're in a community now. You know, you're a community of people. These people get you. These people are either going through what you're going through, or they at least understand what you're going through. So there's a shared language that I don't have to break down what I'm like to every single person all the time. And then to lose that, yeah, it might make you learn Chinese.